Welcome to Detangle, where we untangle the complexities of life, one conversation at a time. I'm your host, Dr. Kinjal Goel, a psychologist and a writer. The psychology of crimes, the mindset of criminals, and the psychology of the legal system have always intrigued me, which is why I'm extremely excited to have with us one of India's most celebrated legal minds.
We have none other than Advocate Ujjwal Nikam, sir, as a guest on Detangle. Advocate Nikam is a prominent legal luminary in India, widely recognized for his exceptional contributions to the field of law. With a career spanning several decades, he has been at the forefront of some of the most high-profile and challenging legal cases in the country. His unwavering commitment to justice, remarkable legal acumen, and numerous successful prosecutions have earned him the respect and admiration of legal professionals and the public alike. Advocate Nikam was awarded the Padma Shri by the Government of India in 2016. Join us as we gain insights into the psychology of law and justice from one of India's most distinguished legal minds. Welcome, Nikam, sir, and thank you for joining me today.
Good morning, Dr. Kinjal. Thank you very much.
So, sir, let me start with the questions. I have so many questions in my mind, and I'm sure there are so many questions in the minds of our listeners because you are at the forefront of what we see from a very farther distance when we see criminals or crime or law and the legal system. So, here goes.
Yeah.
Sir, when did you decide that you wanted to become a lawyer?
See, Kinjal, frankly speaking, when I joined this legal profession, I was in dilemma what to do. Because, frankly speaking, I must confess today that I was rather reluctant to join this legal profession. Firstly, let me confess.
Oh.
Because during our time, when I got this degree, in marriage market, lawyers at that time had a very less demand. Because basically I'm a science student.
Acha.
And my medical, I could not get the medical only by 2-3%. I lost my seat. And then by reluctance, my father said, no, you must now join legal profession. It's a very noble profession. So during my father wish and ultimately, yes, I said, okay, my father wanted that I should become a lawyer. I joined this legal profession. Then thereafter, the question was whether to practice on the civil side or the criminal side.
Right.
But then I thought that, a common man is scared of the united criminals, he's scared of the terrorists and other things. So I thought that I should become a public prosecutor. Then I joined as a special public prosecutor in Jalgaon. I started my practice from Jalgaon. It's a small town.
Right.
And then I appeared in number of the cases. And after some time, I got an opportunity to appear very big sensational case, 1993 Bombay bomb blast case, and it goes on then. So from that point of time, till this time, I'm only working on behalf of the prosecution. I never like to appear on behalf of any criminal, though I'm not in government service. I'm working as a special public prosecutor since the beginning. My initial joining as a public prosecutor, it was again an honorary post.
Acha.
But I opted that I should become the public prosecutor and not the criminal's lawyer. So I think I have carried that image in the mind of a common man. And I can say with all proud that whenever the serious incident occurs, a public at large demand my services. We want Ujjwal Nikam. That is the job satisfaction, I can say.
How beautiful. So you made a very deliberate choice, and the fact that you stuck to your choice has brought you where you are.
Yeah, absolutely correct.
How nice. Sir, as a senior public prosecutor, you have helped convict individuals of various crimes. How does psychology play a role in understanding the motives and behaviors of these accused?
So psychology plays a very important role while dealing with the criminals while fighting against the criminals, while prosecuting the criminals. And I'm of the firm opinion that even the criminal courts award the sentence to the very criminal for the act which he has committed. That is not going to reform him or rehabilitate him. Because sentence is such a process when the court awards that particular sentence in proportion to the crime which he had committed.
Mm-hmm.
But I am of the firm opinion that if I can repose repentance in the mind of a criminal, then certainly that is a real punishment to him. And I have no hesitation to say, while conducting cases against the very dreaded criminals, I personally interact with almost all the criminals. I am never scared of it.
Wow.
And while interacting with them, I try to know what is the psychology when they commit the crime. The first thing is that whether really he has committed a crime, what was the motive for committing the crime, whether it's an 11th hours crime or it's a pre-planned crime, it was an intentional or not, and what brutality while committing the crime. Then I try to find out what are the good things in him. Because you see, every human being has some positive points, some weak points.
True.
And of course, even though they are the criminals, see, at some point of time, I noticed that yes, he had some positive point. And I only praise those positive points. And I tried to tell him, look, this was a good thing in you. But unfortunately, you never realize this good thing in you. You have selected wrong path. And now what will be your fate? See, it's not only your fate, but your family members. Everybody has to suffer because of you. And it is my experience. I can share you one example of the Abu Salem also.
Mm-hmm.
See, he had sent me one letter. See, I appeared against him in a murder case of the Pradeep Jain. He is a builder. He was a builder. He was brutally murdered by Abu Salem at the behest of someone else who is a underworld don. And Abu Salem was in Dubai at that time. He called that builder, Pradeep Jain. He demanded some ransom amount. That builder did not pay. Immediately he sent his shooter of Mumbai and they killed him in his office. So when Abu Salem was brought from Portugal, Abu Salem was brought from Portugal. And I found that he looks like a Bollywood actor.
Really?
Really. He was very punctual about his workout. He used to do workout in the jail. I asked him, how you maintain this body? Then he told me, sir, I'm doing daily exercise in the jail. Then I asked him casually, what was your father doing? And etc., etc., etc. How you marry with the Monica Bedu, where she met you, whether she was knowing your antecedent. Then he was telling very frankly. He was knowing very well that I am going to appear against him. And during the court session only, after the court matter is over, I used to talk to him in the court itself because he was brought from the jail. Then he shared me so many things about him. Then at one point of time, he told me, sir, my father was also a lawyer.
Oh, that's something that I don't think many people know.
No, nobody was knowing. Then I said, why you have selected this path? Then he told me some story. Where is your father? Your father was practicing. Then he said that in UP, some place I don't remember now. It's a long back, 25 years back, this incident and all. Then he told me, sir, my father was a practicing. And really, Abu Salem, I saw him very closely. You might have seen his picture also. He looks like really a Bollywood actor. It's very fair, complex, but at the same time, it's very cruel. He
Right.
killed number of the people at the behest of the Anis Ibrahim and Daud Ibrahim. That is the prosecution allegation against him. So, see, I argued against him and he was shocked when he thought that I was talking very sweetly with him during the court proceeding, and at the final end of the trial, I argued against him and saying that you are a merchant, he is a merchant of death, and he has committed so many crimes. He demanded ransom, and if somebody refused to pay ransom, he used to kill mercilessly. So he's a cruel person. So he should be given the maximum sentence, and the court awarded him life sentence. Then after this, when he was in the court, I asked him, Ki Abu Salim, how do you like my arguments? So he was very much annoyed on me. He didn't say anything. Then I told him very coolly, look, Abu Salim, whenever I used to talk with you earlier, it was an Ujjwal Nikam as a simple human. When I placed the evidence against you, it was the special public prosecutor who was arguing the case. You should not mix up these two different roles. I was trying to tell you, you have selected wrong path and now you had to suffer. See, recently, he sent one letter from the jail to me.
Oh.
I'm telling you, you'll be surprised. And that he is not repenting the crime, but he flattered me. And he said, sir, because meanwhile, I had some health problem. And you see, the jail is such a place wherein the criminals keep all the track about you. So when he came to know that my health was not good, then he sent that letter requesting that I should take care of my health. You'll surprise when dreaded criminal sends a letter. So I thought that my repentance theory worked out in his mind.
Possibly.
And therefore he might have sent that letter. So during this job as a special public prosecutor, I came across number of the people, even including Ajmal Amir Kasab also.
Absolutely. That is one name which still sends shivers down everybody's spine because we are the generation who has seen the crime.
Yeah.
So this is very interesting, sir, because what we always read in newspapers as lay public, what we see in media, what we see on television is something that you experience firsthand. So you see many angles that we don't. You see many facets. You experience human psychology from a very different angle, which is very intriguing to me.
Correct.
Also, sir, do you also see trial by media, where the media nowadays, social media, print media gets involved and things change? Do you experience that?
See, it is a fact that whenever the serious crime occurs or some incident occurs, then media flashes it, media makes some comments, media carries their own investigation, media also draws certain irresistible inferences from the particular fact. And doing this, at some times, see, the person against whom the media carries the campaign or in particular about the incident, whether it affects the mind of the judge or not, that is the moot question. You see, the judges are of the strong mind. I don't think that such type of media news, they are being swayed away with certain impression.
Acha. So it stays up to only the public who are entertained, who are getting some information, right or wrong, but doesn't really affect the legal minds.
No, but it doesn't affect legal mind, but at the same time, it puts the concerned people at proper guard so that the concerned pillars should pay serious attention because of the media. So media's comments on a particular fact, we can't condemn those facts. But certainly media also should keep in mind, unless the particular fact has some bearing of truth, one has no legal right to malign the image of other.
So what I'm understanding here is that you're saying media can play a very powerful role if there is responsible reporting.
Yes, responsible reporting is expected. At some time, you see, media has to be controlled also to some extent,
Right.
because no one person has a right to malign the image without any evidence or without only a concrete thing.
Absolutely. Sir, are there any specific psychological assessments or any expert witnesses that you frequently rely on to strengthen your cases?
See, expert witnesses, especially uh, when there was a police at some time intercept the talks.
Mm-hmm.
So after the arrest of the concerned person, police take the evidence of the we can say about the expert who can identify, that it is called the spectrography test.
Acha.
Or and the second test is about there are so many tests now, scientific, but ultimately all tests are not of conclusive proof.
Mm-hmm.
Even the DNA expert also, ultimately it is his opinion. Opinion of an expert no doubt has a relevancy.
Mm-hmm.
It has some importance in the eye of law, but it can't be said as a conclusive proof.
Right. It all adds up, but
Yeah,
by itself, it doesn't mean everything.
it doesn't mean everything.
Can you share any notable case, sir, where a very deep understanding of criminal psychology helped you in securing a conviction?
See, there are a number of cases.
Right.
See, even in the 93 Bombay bomb blast case, then Gateway of India and Zaveri Bazar blast case, Pramod Mahajan murder case, Gulshan Kumar murder case. Every case has a distinct and separate facet. So I can't say in a straitjacket formula that particular case has standing at a higher footage, or one case is to be looked from the different angle.
Got it. Okay. Sir, certain cases that you deal with, they involved violent crimes. So, how do you approach building a case that addresses the psychological impact on victims of the community as well? Because so many people are impacted by these crimes.
See, I can understand every victim, his or her relative has an anxiety that criminal must get a severe and serious punishment.
Absolutely.
Absolutely logical anticipation, logical expectation. But ultimately, we had to see the evidence. See, now, though in India, death penalty is admissible, we can say, though it is been kept retained in the law books, very rarely the court award death penalty if it is a rarest of rare crime.
Right.
Now, what is the rarest of rare crime? Again, it varies from the person to person, means from the person to means the judge's mind. See, a particular judge feels that a particular crime is the rarest of rare. The other legal mind may not feel that it is the rarest of rare.
True.
So, while selecting a particular case within the four corners, that maximum sentence means the death penalty, because our law books have written that death penalty. Now, we have certain criteria. The Supreme Court has also laid down the certain criteria when death penalty is to be awarded.
Right.
Now, in each and every case, we never ask for the death penalty. We ultimately see the magnitude and the enormity of the crime, number one. Number two, how the public conscience of the society is being shaken by the said cruel act of the criminal. Thirdly, there is no mitigating circumstances which can speak in favor of the accused, like age, like his financial, or like the circumstances under which he has committed the crime. Because ultimately, every murder is a cruel one.
True.
So, if accused commits a murder, if a criminal commits a one murder or 25 people murder, see, it is always cruel murders. Then ultimately, we had to see the background, his mental thought process, before committing the crime and while committing the crime? What was his conduct? So we have to take into consideration all the aspects. You may say it's a psychological aspect. Why did he commit the murder crime? What was the motive? Only to gain property or to take revenge, or whether the conspiracy was there? See, ultimately, I can share you the one example. That is the terror attack of 26 November on the Mumbai. Ajmal Amir Kasab and his 9 colleagues who attacked Mumbai on the night of 26 November. These attacks were pre-planned. The criminal conspiracy was hatched in Pakistan. And in pursuit of the criminal conspiracy, they came to Mumbai and they attacked Mumbai. Now they had selected different places like CST railway station, Hotel Oberoi, Hotel Taj, Nariman House, etc. These 10 terrorists, including Ajmal Amir Kasab, were divided into 5 groups. Each group consists of 2 persons. They were having the mobile. This is the story, everybody knows about it.
Right.
Now, they opened the indiscriminate firing at CST station, at Kama Hospital, even in the Hotel Taj and Oberoi. Apparently, one may say, why did they kill? What was the motive behind it? Whether they were mad, what they wanted to achieve. Achha. During investigation, it was revealed that they came from Karachi by one vessel Al Husseini. Then they intercepted one Kuber, Indian vessel. They killed the navigators and other people, and they sailed to Mumbai.
Right.
See, ultimately, 9 terrorists were killed in encounter. Ajmal Amir Kasab was found alive and the trial began against him. Now, on the first day of hearing, the court, it was a trial in the Orchard Road jail. See, one has to see the psychology of the criminal. I am telling you the psychology of Ajmal Amir Kasab, what had happened on that day. I was about to open the case. For your audience, I can tell you, in a session case, where the punishment is life imprisonment more than the 7 years, when the case is committed to the session court, it's called a session case.
Okay.
In a session case, the public prosecutor has to open the case. Open the case means the public prosecutor has to describe the charge before the court. And the public prosecutor has to, in short, has to catalog the entire evidence in nutshell for the knowledge of the court as well as for the knowledge of the defense team. So on that day particular, when I was about to open my case, the court asked me, yes, Mr. Nikam, you opened your case. You tell me what is your allegation, that is the government's allegation, police allegation against Ajmal Amir Kasab and his colleague, and what is the evidence in your possession to prove it.
Right.
The court hall was jam-packed. All national media, international media persons were present in the court hall. I got up and I just said, sir. Immediately Kasab also stood up. Kasab said, in Hindi he said, साहब, आप मेरे खिलाफ ये केस नहीं चला सकते हो. मैं नाबालिग हूं.
Oh.
What? The court was shocked. I was looking at him. He used to call me earlier when he was apprehended and when he was charge sheeted. So he used to attend the court daily from the Orchard Road jail to the court. Our court premises was in the Orchard Road jail itself. So I used to talk to him. He used to call me Bacha. And I used to ask him, क्यों कसाब कैसे है, तेरे माता पिता क्या कह रहे हैं, फरीदाबाद में कैसे हो, अभी तुझे याद आती क्या नहीं, तू क्या कर रहा है, क्यों ऐसा ये किया. I used to talk as per my usual practice, just to know, just to interact him, just to learn why did he kill so many innocent lives. He never used to respond me that time. But he used to smile. Then he said, "Sir, मैं क्या cigar पी सकता हूँ क्या?" But of course, I said that you have to divulge some important thing to me, which you had never disclosed to the police. Then I will consider whether cigar is to be given to you or not. So, like this talk was ever going on. So Kasab said, "Sir, मैं नाबालिग हूं in court, आप मेरे खिलाफ ट्रायल नहीं चला सकते." See, it means because he had taken the education up to 9th standard only. Hardly 22, 23 years old boy. Then the court, I filed an application because according to our Juvenile Justice Act, if criminal claims that he's a juvenile at the time of committing the crime, we have to prove, prosecution is under legal obligation to prove that he was not a juvenile.
Wow, so he just bought more time.
Yeah. So now, of course, then the burden shifts on me to prove it. He was not juvenile when he had committed the crime, that is, when he had attacked Mumbai. What was the evidence in my possession to establish that he was an adult? He's an adult. Because he's from Pakistan, and that is the Farida court, and we had no certificate of his age. Pakistan did not cooperate us because Pakistan was initially disowning him. Pakistan said, "Oh, hamara nahi hai."
Right.
Then I told the judge, "Sir, we had to hold the ossification test, that is the bone test. It is a scientific test, so that doctor can ascertain and estimate on the basis of the growth of the bones what could be his age." And accordingly, JJ Hospital doctors team examined him. They took the X-rays of his body, and they gave their estimate between 21 and 23 years. Of course, it's a rough calculation. Of course, they're 21, 23. So we placed that on the record. So sometimes this scientific expert evidence and tests are also very useful in toppling down the criminal's allegation and contention.
I'm amazed that someone of his age and someone with, like you said, barely any education, he knew exactly how to buy himself some time. He probably must have known that you will find your way, but he at least wanted to try.
Yes, Dr. Kinjal, absolutely you are right. But you see, his psychology was to invite the attention. His psychology was that he was taught in Pakistan, if he will be apprehended, what defenses you should take at that time.
Fascinating, really. So, from all the cases that you have described, from the work that you have been doing, what I see is that fear is a very strong emotion that you see very closely. Criminals are trying to instigate fear, you are trying to overcome it on a daily basis. How do you do it? How do you prepare your mind for this?
Yeah, I don't do any yoga and all these things. I'm telling you very frankly. But see, I'm a very outspoken person, and whatever I like, I always speak. Even if he's a criminal or whosoever may be, I tell what are the facts and what are the irresistible inferences can be drawn. I kept in my mind one simple principle, that I had to draw certain irresistible inferences. There is a simple fundamental principle is, all men are mortal, all kings are men. These are the universal true equation.
Absolutely.
All men are mortal, all kings are men, and therefore all kings are mortal. This is the third irresistible inference. So from every fact, I try to derive the irresistible inference. Dr. Kinjal, I have no hesitation to say, you called me several times.
Right.
And really, every time I was feeling bad to tell you, no, not this time, not at this time. You come, we'll talk on next time, next day. Today also I had given you at 10 a.m. I'm really sorry. But
No, sir.
see, I was really busy in summer. And once I made a commitment, I see that I must discharge that commitment. So your conscious is always the important thing. You see, I always ask my mind whether I'm doing correct thing. I ask this question to my mind itself, and I try to reply from my bottom of the heart. Yes, it is correct. It is not correct. I try to balance both answer. So automatically fear goes away.
I think this is a very powerful statement that you have just made, that when you have the power of facts and an objective outlook, all other emotions can be handled very beautifully.
Correct.
So I think this is going to take me a long way. I'm going to use this and I'm going to use your analogy the next time I'm scared of anything. Of course, our fears are different, but we all face some kind of stressors and fears. But this kind of almost surgical objectivity is going to
Yes.
tide over a lot of listeners, I'm sure. Let me
Yes.
ask you a very personal question, sir.
Yeah.
I ask this question to all my podcast guests. So
Okay.
I'm sure you've heard of a first aid box, right? People keep band-aid, Savlon, they'll keep a painkiller in case you have some minor cuts and wounds.
Yeah.
I ask my guests that if you were to make a mental first aid kit, a box which makes you happy as soon as you open it. So some people say, I want a photograph. Some people say, I want some song QR codes, a chocolate piece. What would you personally put inside a box that will make you happy as soon as you open it?
Now, I never keep such type of any box. I don't want to keep anything because I firmly believe my good conscience. That is my mental box.
Fabulous. I think your commitment to your cause and your commitment to the way your conscious is taking you forward is remarkable. It's really remarkable. You have this single-minded focus, which is more powerful than I have ever seen in any other professional before. So this is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
As a psychologist, I also leave my last question open to my guest. Would you like to ask me anything in my field?
No, Dr. Kinjal, you have a good humor as well as the power of arguing your self case. You can convince your guest. I tried to avoid you very frankly. I thought that one of the other day you'll say, Mr. Nikam, I'm sorry, I tried. But you have that, you see, elasticity, nature, and you are most humble person. That I also confess. And a qualified lady like you, it keeps such things. It's a good. And I try to also understand from your the entire conduct. You see, at some time, my weakness, if you can ask me, I'm a short temper also at some times. But immediately I realize my mistake. If I fire someone else, because while dealing the cases, such type of cases, I can't be a मीठा मीठा बोलना किसी से बुरा नहीं करना. That I don't keep my nature. But if I realize immediately, oh, I have not done this good thing, then immediately I pat him. Oh, it's okay. Instead of saying sorry, but in a different manner, I used to tell him. So they also realize their mistake, and at the same time, they try to rectify that mistake. So next time, they never commit such type of mistake. Even the police officers, senior cops also. So in the first sitting, they may feel that I'm very short temper man and this. But immediately after having the interaction with me, then they realize, oh no, this is the work is to be done and I have to get the work done. Now tomorrow I have to go to Dhulia. It's a mob lynching case. A mob was under ferocious mob. Mob was very furious and mob killed a 5-person innocent person. They were just visiting village to village for having some small things. And the mob captured. The mob was under wrong impression. They had come to taken the kidneys of small boys. And that was a wrong propaganda. And they killed the 5 people. And the people who killed them is a complete mob. And they were taking the mobile photographs also. You see, when I have played that video in the court hall, I was shocked कि इतना बुरी तरह से उनको मार रहे थे कि I have no words to express कि how such people can become a cruel only on the misunderstandings without having any proof. So what I'm telling you, tomorrow my evidence of the investigating officer, a DYSP ranking person. Now, when I asked the other inspector when he is coming, he said, man, sir, he is likely to come tomorrow. He will come tomorrow. But no, I am coming in the afternoon now. I am leaving Jalgaon for Dhulia. So I told him because he should come and I will go.
Right.
So unless I will take the pains, he won't take pains. So, see, even if you had to get your work successfully, you have to put firstly pains, then others will take the pain.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Sir, this has been one of my most fascinating conversations, honestly, on Detangle. Because we are exposed to a lot of thoughts through media, through movies, through OTT platforms.
Yeah.
But what you have shared with us today is a very different angle of the psychology of criminals, of the legal system, of yourself, and of the people who are the victims. There are so many angles that you deal with so effortlessly and so flawlessly that we don't even notice that you are putting in so much work at every single step. So I would like to say a big thank you from all our listeners, from myself personally, for taking the time. I completely understand that it has been a very busy time for you, but this has been priceless for me. And as we share this information with our listeners, I'm sure people will start understanding how deep our legal system is and how well protected we are because of people like you who are taking the lead.
Thank you, Dr. Kinjal. Very kind of you. Thank you, Dr. Kinjal.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.